Good morning, good afternoon.
Let's not do this one.
Good afternoon, everyone. We want to call to order the meeting for Tuesday, April 19th, 2022. This is the regular meeting of the South Euclid Lyndhurst Board of Education. Dr. Reed, it is now 5:36. May we get a roll call, Mr. Hill?
Ms. Falkenberg,
Here.
Mrs. Jones,
Here.
Ms. King,
Here.
Ms. Lee,
Here.
Mrs. Ryan.
I believe Ms. Ryan is en route, so we should see her shortly. Thank you for that, Mr. Hill. May we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Over the boards.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for joining us for that. Welcome to those of you that are online with us this evening. Welcome to those that are in person here, our visitors behind us, administration. Good evening as well. We can go right into our liaison reports. Do we have a legislative report, Ms. Falkenberg?
Yes.
Brutal.
I have to, I'm still kind of struggling to figure out what actually fits as my responsibility.
I forgot you moved over.
Yeah.
Sorry, Catherine.
I'm starting to get used to all the gobbledygook that their senators and representatives use. Anyway, as most of us know, House Bill 126 was passed by the Senate and House, or House, and then the Senate made changes to it. I don't believe at this point that the governor has signed it, but he has indicated that he's going to sign it. That is the one that gives more responsibility to the homeowner about the value of their property. Takes some of the responsibility and power, basically, from the school board. So it's a hit. It hurts. The second one, and there were some others that I considered, but they kind of, fell into the carpet of what I thought was most important. This one is actually a federal law that Senator Brown, who is, as most of us know, I think, I hope, Sherrod Brown is one of our senators. He is working with U.S. Representative Anthony Brown, a Maryland Democrat, to introduce legislation that would increase the tax deduction that teachers can take for supplies that they use in the classroom. I know from experience that teachers tend to spend more than, I guess they're allowed $250 to deduct on their taxes. And he's, speaking with many around the country, but certainly in Ohio, who spend much more than that for their, for their students to try to boost their lesson planning and so on. So that was the second one. It's just been introduced. It hasn't been voted on yet.
I never knew that they only got $250 is all they can do. I never knew that.
Yeah.
What they can claim,
Oh.
right on.
Great report, Catherine.
Do we have a student achievement liaison report, Ms. King?
Yes. Just two items this month. I noticed a trend. All of the articles were about technology and the utilization of technology. So the first one was the game Minecraft, and I don't know this game.
The kids do.
I
The
That's why I
kids
was
do.
like, oh, this seems really popular. So the game Minecraft created an additional game called Active Citizen in partnership with the Nobel Peace Center and Games for Change. The goal of the game is to help educate youth worldwide about Nobel Peace Prize honorees and previous winners, and about creating their own positive change in the world. It was just launched this month, and I guess it follows the regular Minecraft theme, and you like go through the world, and you like meet people, and it's very interactive and meant to be very informational. So I thought that was cool. And then Princeton City focused on technology by helping local apartment complexes and mobile home parks by offering hotspots that students could borrow, also by installing several wireless access points outside of school buildings for parents and students to use 24/7, and by adding 20 virtual reality goggles so students can take field trips from the classroom. The district also has a solar-powered mobile book center that features wireless access, and they also equipped their school buses that generally take longer routes, so longer travel times for students. They equipped them all with Wi-Fi, so the students would be able to utilize the Wi-Fi while they're leaving school, prior to getting home, or even beforehand. And they utilize their pandemic funding to scale up the technology services that they offer.
Nice.
And that concludes my report.
What was that school district again?
Princeton City.
Princeton.
That's in Ohio.
I don't know.
Oh,
I was
nice.
like Kinston. I'm like, Princeton.
Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh. I didn't mean to laugh.
Thank you both for those reports. Item 2.2, superintendent's report.
Well, good evening, everybody. I am going to defer some of my report for two of our guests this evening that I will be talking a little bit about. And we just had a work session last week, which we gave quite a lot of detail with regards to our schedules for next year, some of the things that we're working on with shared expectations with regards to our students and our staff. And so at this time, I will defer until we get to introducing our special guest.
Mr. Hill, do we have any public comment?
I was just checking, I do not see.
Hearing none, we will revisit at the end to see if we have any. Item 3.1, the minutes. The minutes of the regular meeting of March 22nd, 2020, and the special meeting of April 12th, 2022 will be approved as reported or corrected. Furthermore, the reading of these minutes will be waived. May we get a motion to approve item 3.1?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Falkenberg and Ms. King? Any questions or comments?
If I don't stand corrected, Treasurer Hill, I cannot vote on this, correct, because I was not at this meeting.
Were you not at both of them?
I was not at the March one, but I was at the April one, so I think I have to
Did you read
abstain.
them? If she reviewed the
If I reviewed them, is that?
board meeting, can she vote on them?
Actually, this is just the March ones. The April ones are not attached, so just ignore that.
Okay.
So, are those Dr. Reed's minutes?
I want you to know I did forward the meeting minutes earlier today.
They're just not, they're just not yet.
I told her, Josh, she had one job.
We did, she said you had one job.
I was Josh Hill and I threw everybody from the bus.
All right, so we will amend that recommended action to include just March 22nd.
Oh, that sounds good.
All right, we will keep the motions and the second. Hearing no further questions or comments, may we get a roll call, Mr. Hill?
Ms. Falkenberg,
Aye.
Ms. King,
Aye.
Mrs. Jones,
Aye.
Ms. Lee.
Did you say?
Yes, he took off April. So
Oh.
you're right.
I wasn't here for April, I wasn't here for March.
Oh, you got a button.
No.
That's right.
So then abstain.
Zero.
Abstain.
Right into the treasurer's report.
Recommend for approval, item 4.1, the financial reports for month end March 2022. Item 4.2, the bank reconciliation for month end March 2022. Item 4.3, the investment earnings for month end March 2022. Item 4.4, we have a donation on there. Item 4.5, the tax rates for tax year 2022, calendar year 2023. And then item 4.6, change to authorized signer officer signature. And item 4.7, recommend for approval, item 4.1 through 4.6.
May we get a motion to approve items 4.1 through 4.6?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Falkenberg. Any questions or comments?
I had a question. Do we know, or what is the student supplies that were donated by Staples?
Typically, it is their folders, glue, pencils, paper, 3-ring binders, crayons.
The usual stuff.
Yeah, usual standard, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Any further questions?
Yeah, on the change to authorized signer officer signature.
That was the one when you open up the attachment, you said it had a prior
Yeah.
superintendent's name on it.
Oh, it
but by
did?
him being-
Yeah.
I
And
saw
that
you
was
reading
reading fast.
fast.
Inquire any information or anything, they had to go through formal
Oh,
board
okay.
action to
Okay.
get his name listed in my place on it.
All right.
Ironically, so those letters should stop because I believe, remember a couple years ago, I got that letter in the mail and they said there was some annuities that were collecting interest and they
Yes.
were in the name of Bill Dudley. Remember, and I passed that on to
Yes.
Deb Betts.
Yes.
And
That was a different treasurer though.
no, but
No,
that
that
was a
was-
form
I have
that
been
came through.
I have been dealing with this back and forth for over a year.
It was a form, it was a letter that came
Yeah.
and she gave it to me, that came in my name as a board member.
We
And it,
received,
and we
all-
thought it was she thought it was a spam.
Right.
yeah, we still receive dividends and interest on this annuity that's sitting there. So, but it's just a matter of I can't do anything otherwise.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Like, they won't give me any further information,
Right.
and it's kind of weird because it's not a candidate too.
It was weird when the letter came to me, but.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's really real.
That's real.
I didn't, oh, my, sorry, I didn't know that.
We get monthly checks for it, so I mean.
Oh,
So
I
if
never,
you ever need to make a
oh,
phone call, you.
I
your
actually
hands
remember
up.
that.
Yeah, they wouldn't,
Wow.
so I finally said, I go, you've got to, like, give me some kind of form of action that you guys will accept to get my name on this so I can do
Yeah.
something.
Right.
To get information on it, and they finally said, formal board action, hold it
Got
in
it.
and put it on.
Okay.
Hearing no further questions or comments, may we get a roll call?
Ms. Lee,
Aye.
Ms. Falkenberg,
Aye.
Mrs. Jones,
Aye.
Ms. King.
Aye.
Superintendent's items?
If this is okay, I'll wait a minute. Stephanie's coming right now.
Okay.
And we'll just let her catch up.
Huh?
You don't remember how that
That sounded so cool. Like ethics.
We're gonna wait for you before we go into superintendent's items.
We got the liaison.
Because I was like, it sounds pretty cool.
Absolutely. Right. They're good games.
Able to get the liaison report. Much.
Never played any games.
So we approve the minutes.
Sorry,
We give the liaison report.
Okay.
Catch your breath.
All right, all good.
Right now, we're just starting on 5.0, Mrs. Ryan,
Okay.
the superintendent items. So under 5.1, asking the board for approval on the non-rep personnel salary schedule. Basically, what that is every 2 to 3 years, we have the board approve the salary schedule for administrators or exempt staff. And really, it came to an end at the end of this year. So in order, when you're hiring new people, as we are this evening, we have to have the board approve a new salary schedule. So as was shared with you earlier, it actually includes just this year's salary schedule. That means 21, 22. And then Mr. Hill has put together, kicked that salary schedule out 2 years. So it'll be 23, 24, and 24, 25. So again, we got to approve that first before we start placing people We're going to be doing some hiring for
Right.
next year, so that's what we're doing first here this evening.
So 22, 23,
And then
and 23,
24.
24.
Okay, yes. And so item 5.2 is recommending to the board to approve the aforementioned salary schedule for the next 2 years.
May we get a motion to approve item 5.1?
So moved.
Second?
Ms. Lee, Ms. Falkenberg, any questions or comments? Hearing none, may we get a roll call, Mr. Hill?
Ms. Lee,
Aye.
Ms. Falkenberg,
Aye.
Mrs. Jones,
Aye.
Ms. King,
Aye.
Mrs. Ryan.
Aye.
Okay, moving on to 6.0, superintendent's item certified staff. As I mentioned earlier, I was deferring my superintendent's report to talk a little bit about the Brush principal search. So I'm going to talk a few minutes before we go into recommendation for, taking action. First of all, we are really excited. We, over the last 2 months, have done a search for the new Charles F. Brush high school principal. We started the search about 2 months ago, and there were 24 candidates that applied for the job. I do want to kind of fill the public in a little bit about the process. I did share the same process with the staff at Brush High School last Wednesday, and so I just want to, so we surveyed parents, we surveyed the staff, and we surveyed students. And I'm just going to hold up one of the surveys, and they were similar in some ways, in other ways they were tailored obviously towards the stakeholder. And this is important to know because this, what we were looking for and what some of our parents and our students and staff were looking for is what we found in our candidate. So I'm just going to highlight a couple of the areas that were significant in the survey. They felt that it was important that our candidate have previous building experience as an administrator. They felt that actually having experience as a teacher was important, and actually 80% of the staff felt that. They felt it was important for our candidate to have experience working with students that were demographically similar to Brush High School. Allow me to keep changing the page here a little bit. They also felt that it was important that our next principal had and 75% of the staff, an understanding of the social emotional needs of high school age students. And they also felt it was important that this person had excellent communication skills in large and small group settings. This was similar to what the other stakeholders felt as well. That's why I'm highlighting these. While 92% felt that it was important that this person be visible and accessible to staff, students, and community members. And again, all the things that we really felt as a team that we found in our candidate that we'll be recommending. While 92% felt that this person needs to motivate and empower others, and 96% develops a collaborative staff environment built on mutual respect. 96% discipline students effectively, fairly, and consistently. And then really felt it was important for their ability to engage or establish relationships with at-risk students and families. And then, there were 25 different items, and so I mentioned that because we geared our questioning around those things and those needs, and really weighted those heavier than other areas. And so when we went through the process, it was a multi-step process. We also spent almost 2 hours with the candidate because we just didn't do the typical Q&A. We wanted them to give us a snapshot of who they were. And I would like to read a few things. As you can see on the agenda, I'm just going to mention our candidate that we're recommending this evening is Mike Gording. And it was unanimous that we felt that he should be the next principal of Brush High School because I'm just going to read it. What I'm trying to do is let the public know. We know a little bit about him, and the board knows a little bit about him, but I think it's important for everybody to hear. We asked about what their vision is, and ultimately these are some of the things that he wrote, that the ultimate vision is to guide Brush High School and assist the district become the destination school community. It was important to ensure all stakeholders contribute to the success of their students and to each other. It was important that all staff have the necessary supports they had to support students to succeed. it was important to ensure our school is a safe space for learning for students and staff. And I thought this last one was really interesting. Part of his vision was to understand that in this school and district, we are all humans and we are all arcs. This makes us family, and everyone deserves to be treated with dignity and respect. And I think that gives you a little insight to the character of the person that we are, hiring. His leadership style was important to us. We were looking for somebody collaborative. And, yes, we talk about instructional leadership and loving watching kids learn and grow. But he talked about being a transformational leader. And I think this is important in education today, is identifying issues within the school. We all can do that, right? But really implementing a plan to resolve the issues. I think that's what we're really looking for in leaders. And I think that resonated with us about, the leadership style. Really a loaded question sometimes to ask folks is, what's your philosophy related to student discipline? And, you can get a little bit of everything, but, love some of the answers that he gave. And he talked about students must take ownership and accountability of their actions. However, adults must provide the tools and supports to make this possible. There's a real partnership there. Yeah, so it's I love the idea of a proactive approach. And again, there's other things here, but for the sake of time, I just wanted to highlight. We must analyze student discipline to look for inequities, root causes, and solutions. That's pretty powerful. And I think that's how you make positive change come about. So, I'll skip a few of the other ones, but I really like the idea about innovation. He has a quote here from Thomas Edison. Innovation, there's a way to do it better, find it. I mean, really, it can apply almost to anything. So he talks about innovation helps eliminate inequitable practice and outdated instruction. He talks about a safe space to practice instruction for teachers. I think that's important. When you talk about innovation, they ought to be allowed to be able, as professionals to try something, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I think that's how we explain the safe space. So, and then innovation fosters equity in education. So we all talk about that, but here's a leader who really kind of shares some of those ideas. So what I'd like to do is, if I got just a couple more things to share because I thought this was important. It's really important as a high school principal or any leader is to be able to communicate. And I loved how he put out his electronic communications. And yes, it's called the Bulldog Bark, but we'll call it something else now. But I really loved how he highlighted in March, it's really about Women's History Month and really being able to highlight not only the famous women, but actually the people in his life, women that made a difference. And so there was really good with communications because, again, when you look at the survey, it was important for our candidate to have good communication skills. And when you read letters of references, I'm kind of one of those people, I highlight different things and themes. And one of the things that kept coming up was about a people person being able to deal with folks in stressful situations and do it in a positive manner. Being a principal, and especially the high school principal, it's like an ER doctor. Yeah. You never know what's going to come through the door, and you better be able to work not just well, but work well under pressure. And so those were a lot of the things that were coming about. But actually, this struck me here, and if I can remember it, but I don't know if I'll do it justice. And I think it really resonated with me with regards to probably the last 2 years we've been through. It talks about Mike works incredibly hard, but his most compelling qualities are his optimism and his people skills. He always finds the good in every situation, even difficult situation, and remains encouraging despite the issues that schools face today. Boy, that's what we need, isn't it? You talk about reboot and things like that. So I got one last thing, and I'm going to, introduce the recommendation to the board. But just real quick, he is actually a graduate of Euclid High School. Didn't go very far, I was going to go change the world too, and found out I just stayed in Northeast Ohio, and that was okay with me too, because you can change things here. His bachelor's degree is from Cleveland State with a 712 integrated social studies. He has 2 master's degrees. His first one is a master's in curriculum instruction and assessment, and his second master's degree is in educational in administration. He spent 14 years in the classroom. If you remember what I talked about, for the survey, you know, I think is important. 2 years in the Cleveland Municipal School District, and went back home to his alma mater and spent 12 years at Euclid High School. Went in administration, stuck with the first ring still, spent 6 years at Garfield Heights High School. Did a little bit of the traditional things sometimes when you start out, going a lot with, how should I say, the non-academics part, but then also moved into an assistant principal role, dealing with teaching and learning and using his capacity in that sense. In the last 2 years as the principal of Garfield Heights Middle School. It's my pleasure to present to the board Mike Fording as our selection as the next principal of Charles F. Brush High School. And I just want to welcome, I know they got a vote on it. So if it's okay, I would love to go through, and obviously you have to approve it, and if we could pause again, I know Mike would like to say a few words, but I think it's probably more appropriate that I go through the recommendations, you form a vote on him, and then if I can pause again, and we'll bring Mike up to say a few words. Okay?
Yeah.
So under 6.1, recommending the appointment of Michael Fording as the Brush principal, and we have a few resignations. We have a few paid leaves of absence, unpaid leave of absence. Also, this is that time of year where we start to hire our teachers for our very exciting extended learning opportunity program. And then we have some summer school and compensation for professional development for some of our folks who did some work during the spring break. Under 6.2, recommend to the Board of Education to approve a settlement agreement between the South Euclid Linters Board of Education and a school district employee. And then under 6.3, a different settlement agreement that I'm recommending to the Board of Education to approve between the South Euclid Linters Board of Education and a district employee. And then finally, under 6.4, recommending the approval of the superintendent's certified personnel items as presented this evening.
Upon recommendation of the superintendent, may we get a motion to approve items 6.1 through 6.3?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. King, Ms. Falkenberg, any questions or comments? Hearing none, may we get a roll call, Mr. Hill?
Ms. King,
Aye.
Ms. Falkenberg,
Aye.
Mrs. Jones,
Aye.
Ms. Lee,
Aye.
Mrs. Renner.
Aye.
And if I would allow myself, I told him we're still trying to figure out the dynamics, but I'm thinking right over here is the best place to stand. So I'd like to introduce the Charles F. Brush High School principal, Michael Fording.
We're very excited.
Yes, that'd be good.
Good evening. I'd like to take a moment to thank Board President Jones, Vice President Lee, and the rest of the Board of Education for this opportunity and for putting their confidence in me. I would also like to thank Dr. Reed and her team for trusting me to lead Brush High School as we move forward. It was important for me personally to see the effort her team put into selecting the next principal of Brush High School. I am humbled and excited for the opportunity to lead Brush High School. During my 22 years in education, the one thing that stands out the most is that people and relationships are at the core of what we do. The needs of our students will drive everything that we do here at Brush High School. The field of education has been difficult over the past couple of years for all stakeholders. There's a lot of work to be done, but we will do that work together because the students of South Euclid and Linters deserve all the students and adults working together to get them to their fullest potential. I'm proud to call myself an ARC and look forward to being an ARC for many, many years to come. Thank you. I'm very excited to start.
Because you know you're going to be working long hours, because I've also told you have not missed work in 8 years. That's something to be noted. But I know you brought your family this evening. If you want to take a moment and introduce who you brought with you.
Sure. This is my wife, Missy, Melissa, and then these are two of my 4 daughters. This is Maddie, my youngest, and that's Emily, my second youngest, and they couldn't be here.
Welcome. We have another important guest here this evening. I'm under 7.0. And if I can, again, take a moment to talk a little bit about our process and the person that I will be recommending this evening for our performance and wellness specialist. That, some people might not know what that is, but that is actually a unique position for a school district. But being a school district over 500 employees and knowing how important health and wellness is, because if you can't, be in a healthy place or a safe place, sometimes, having that stamina is important as part of the job. This job is a two-parter. It actually works with our student athletes, and it's also be working with our wellness program with our staff. And I think that brought a challenge in itself, because a lot of times people are really good at one thing and struggle with the other. And I need to tell you, our candidate, Corey Morrow, that I'll be recommending, had it all. He was the total package, and we're really excited about that. So I know sometimes I embarrass folks when I keep reading about it, but I think it's important for people to, this was a really competitive field. We created the position 6 years ago, and I know, I need to tell you, it got even tougher, because I think people really heard about our program, what we were doing, and really wanted to become a part of it. So it was a very competitive field, and we actually took 6 weeks to try to get to it, because it was just that competitive. And Corey he just clicked. We just really clicked with that. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about, he's actually a graduate of the University of Akron, and he has a Bachelor's of Science in Sports Management. And he did play football for the University of Akron. But when you look at it, so he's been at a high performance, and being a former Division I college athlete myself, I know what it can do for young men and young women. And what's even more impressive, I'd like to read some of the honors. So a lot of people can play the game, but he did it with class and got quite a few awards from it. And I'm going to start with his Dean's List, his 3.5, and the Scholar Athlete Award of 3.5. And exactly that's what I leave with it, because I don't know whether people realize that to be a Division I college athlete and maintain your grades, and that's something what we want for our Scholar athletes, I think would set a really great example of what we want for both our male and female athletes here. Actually had the Doc Harry Award, which is actually the Outstanding Freshman. The Golden Helmet Award is really Nashville County for the Outstanding College Athlete, and selected a football team's captain, which tells me that's leadership. So, I always kind of look at some other things as well. The National Guard now Student Athlete of the Year. So Mr. Morrow was just not only serious about his athletics, he was serious about being in the classroom, and what better way would we want that for our student athletes as well. And so he has been, he has done some internships at St. Vincent St. Mary's. We all know whose alma mater that is. But he's also been working since 2016 at the Spire Institute out in Geneva. And if you're not familiar with that, that is a really high-performing athletes out there, and really, there's no margin of error. So, really having that pressure and working underneath that pressure, we thought he could transfer that well here. He's also worked at the high school level as an assistant high school football coach, and also a strength and conditioning coach at Perry High School. I believe that's in Lake County. And I still have your presentation, Mr. Morrow, and I'm going to go over a few things, because we asked too with the vision, what it was. And so it's kind of interesting. What does somebody come up with for a vision for a performance and wellness specialist? Well, he did quite well. And he talks about lead a district-wide buy-in to what the importance of performance and wellness is. Build healthy community relationships through wellness. Produce positive performance results mentally and physically. And then shine positive light, I love this, on SEL district in the performance and wellness world, and really be that trailblazer. And so that's the hook, that was the first part of it. So, and then I won't go in it now, but he really talks about attacking the vision. So a lot of people talk about that at the 30,000 foot level, but he actually gave us some concrete stuff about what that can really look like here. I also liked his action plan. It wasn't like, I'm going to do this. He talked about a 30-day action plan, and really got it down to what that would look like, and I'm a person that has to see it. And he made me see it. He made the team see it, and he really worked hard to do that. It was great. I'm always about equity, so I was curious about how the male and female athlete would be treated. And really, he did a nice job in his approach of really respecting the uniqueness of that, but also really respecting the fact that they would be treated in an equitable manner, in the manner in which they would, with training and attention would be. So, again, love the staff wellness piece, love what he talked about for our student athletes, and it is with pleasure this evening that I will be recommending for the board under item 7.1, Corey Morrow as the performance and wellness specialist, and that may be our only item this evening. And so after we approve, I'd like to just introduce the board real quick and let them have our opportunity to shake your hands as well.
May we get a motion to approve item 7.1?
So moved. Oh, I'll second.
It's all good. You can take it.
Ryan and Ms. King? Any questions or comments? Hearing none, may we get a roll call, Mr. Hill?
Mrs. Ryan?
Aye.
Ms. King?
Aye.
Ms. Falkenberg?
Aye.
Mrs. Jones?
Aye.
Ms. Lee?
Aye.
Congratulations.
Welcome.
Congratulations.
Welcome.
Say hi or?
Very excited to be here. Know a little bit about Rush, but very excited to dig into it, dig deep into it, and then be a part of it. Lead, like you said, I'm big on leadership. I had some great leaders in my life, so I can't wait to pay it forward. Thank you.
So he'll be located at Brush High School, and as part of his plan, we kind of felt like COVID set us back a little bit with our folks coming from the other buildings, and really part of his plan was that he was going to be pushed, he'll be located here. He's a district-wide employee, and he'll work and go into the building sometimes to introduce himself and get more people coming over to ArcFit Upper, which is for our staff and things like that. Obviously, we'll be spending time with our student athletes and our coaches, so I would say a majority of the time here, but also we liked what he had to say about pushing it out. Because a lot of times people won't come unless we do that. And if it's okay with the board, I set up a tour for our guests if they, especially Mr. Forty and his family. I told him he's going to go get lost. But I meant that in a very kind way. That he can go ahead and take a tour of. He's really excited to see the building in which he'll lead. And so at this time, if I could want to excuse our guest Corey and Corey, I know he made plans to be here this evening, so if you have to go back to wherever you have to be, I'm going to excuse our guests and let them get on with their evening.
Absolutely.
But thank you.
You need a tour guide?
Mr. Miller.
Oh, okay. I'm here like, if somebody goes, I was nervous for you, because I get lost. I'm like,
He'll be down at Wells.
Thank you, Mia.
Wondering how can he get back up?
Seriously. Like, this cannot be a self-guided tour.
Okay, I'll continue.
Good call.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
That was so good. That was on our mind.
Sounds really awesome.
So,
The energy.
I am under.
Yes.
Okay. Very, very exciting evening. I'm going to move on, and thank you for your indulgence. I think it was important for the public to meet some of our new hires, and I'm really excited with regards to them. So I am on 8.1, which is our classified staff. I'd like to recommend to the Board of Education to approve the following classified staff, and that would be for appointments. We have a few resignations. Give me a moment here. If I click on it, I bet you I can just do it here rather than read from there. Okay. There we go. All right. And then a paid leave of absence. It's time for those seasonal workers, and then some of our summer opportunities in student AV workers, as well as our substitutes in this section.
May we get a motion to approve item 8.1?
So moved.
Second?
Ms. Ryan, Ms. Falkenberg. Any questions or comments?
Nope.
Hearing none, may we get a roll call, Mr. Hill?
Mrs. Ryan,
Aye.
Ms. Falkenberg,
Aye.
Mrs. Jones,
Aye.
Ms. King,
Aye.
Ms. Lee.
Aye.
Under 9.1 supplemental contracts, I think we have a few here. Actually, we just probably have, this is where we put our unpaid volunteers. We do vet them and make sure that we get those approved, and so that is the only thing this evening under supplemental. You don't really get contracts, we just have to have a placeholder.
Yeah.
May we get a motion to approve item 9.1?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Lee, Ms. Falkenberg. Any questions or comments?
Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying hi, Bar Coleman.
Yes,
Oh,
I noticed that,
yeah.
I noticed that.
These volunteers mean so much to our
Yeah.
students, to our schools, and I just want to thank them from the bottom of my heart for the time that they put in. It means so much.
And what's kind of nice is you can see we're having that gradual release of allowing other folks into the buildings. I think there is a comfort level now to do that, and so feels good.
Yes.
Hearing no other questions or comments, may we get a roll call, Mr. Hill?
Ms. Lee,
Aye.
Ms. Falkenberg,
Aye.
Mrs. Jones,
Aye.
Ms. King,
Aye.
Mrs. Ryan.
Aye.
Under 10.0, we are on business items. The first one is an amendment to the Loudon property purchase. We mentioned after the company or the organization that bought it, were some limitations to the property, which they cannot build as much as they thought. So we went back and forth, and we feel that this is now a fair price with regards to, and we did continue to negotiate with them on that. And then under 10.2, we do annual inspections, and in this case, it looks like one of our buildings needs something that, I believe it's Sunview? Sunview needs to have something placed ASAP. And one thing we have learned with COVID too, depending on the parts and the company, it takes longer, and we want to have these things in place by the fall, so we, believe it or not, we have to do this now in order to have a chance to be able to accomplish that. And then 10.3, recommending the business items as presented this evening.
May we get a motion to approve items 10.1 and 10.2?
So moved.
Second.
Falkenberg and Ms. Ryan. Any questions or comments? I do have a question. So is 87 around the oldest age of our boilers, or is that the newest age?
I was
Just the
wondering
other
the
day.
same thing.
It's old. We do have, actually, the board office is even older than that.
I can attest to
So
that.
there are some that are older that are kind of plugging along still, that we're lucky we have a good team that keeps them running that long, right? Typically a 15 to 20 year per boiler.
Okay.
So at 87, you can see we got our use out there.
So should we look at the other ones while we're getting close for those?
We're looking at those as well,
Okay.
so
Proactive.
it'll be close, yes, it'll be
Seriously.
proactive, yes.
Yes.
And TAG doesn't stop the building from being occupied, it just stops it from being used and turned on?
Correct. The one, the main one is off, the backup one, he's allowing us to live through with it, because obviously the weather's changing at this point, well, you would think it's changing at this point. So, yes, we're allowed to live through on the one for the rest of the season.
All right.
Any other questions or comments? No?
Thank you, Mike.
Hearing none, may we get a roll call, Mr. Hill?
Ms. Falkenberg,
Aye.
Mrs. Ryan,
Aye.
Mrs. Jones,
Aye.
Ms. King,
Aye.
Ms. Lee.
Aye.
Under 11.0 is the superintendent's items for academics, technology, and innovation. Under 11.1, recommend to the Board of Education to approve the revision of the 22-23 school calendar, in addition to the 5 continuous improvement days. For those of you that may not have been tuning in last week, we talked about our schedules for next year. What we are doing in place of the early release Wednesdays are the 5 continuous improvement days. We're really no stranger to this. We've done that in the past, but we have strategically put these in, you can see, I would say almost, one a month in the beginning, because we're front-loading that piece. And so that's what we're asking. Those were not on the calendar, and there are no students that day, so that's what we want to make sure that families know that. And then the next one, 11.2, is a little bit different. It's actually asking the board to approve the adoption of the 22, I'm sorry, it's hard to, 23, 24, and 24, 25. Just for those of you that are not familiar with it, there's a committee that's put together, there's representation of teachers, I think a board member, thank you, and administration. They make a recommendation to the superintendent. I did look at the recommendations, not a real big difference between what was voted on, that was more popular than another. It appears that they like starting a little bit later in August, which means that we will actually go a little bit later in June, not real late, but like the first week. So those are just some of the highlights. We'll probably have to come back to a revision with maybe continuous improvement days. It's too hard to plan that right now, but that's what 11.2 is. And then we are doing a new math adoption, yay. So that is on there. We're looking forward to that. K-8 math adoption. 11.4 is your summer academy, and that is similar to last year, where we had over 300 students participate, located on the Greenview campus. Really excited about that. Number 11.5 there is this is the South Euclid Youth Academy field trip, and I believe this is through the South Euclid, Joe DeLillo, Officer SRO DeLillo, is our resource officer and chaperone, so I'm really excited for our students and that partnership. And then when they talk about an overnight or an extended field trip, and in this case, after prom, it's coming up, yay! And then we have an MOU we have a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
The memorandum of understanding, and this is for our mathematical model and reasoning course that we are piloting this year at Brush High School. Very excited about that. And then 11.8, recommendation of the approved superintendent items for academic, technology, and innovation as presented.
Upon recommendation, may we get a motion to approve items 11.1 through 11.7?
So moved.
Second?
Ms. Lee, Ms. Falkenberg, any questions or comments?
Let Diamond Ray know, next time they have this much stuff on the agenda, they need to be at the meeting. But, I was gonna say that I'm happy to see that, I didn't know we were assisting with the, South Euclid Youth Academy this year. So I think that's and these kids are like in the 7th and 8th grade and excited about going to a wild animal park.
Aw.
My kids being a couple of them. So I thought that was really, I didn't know that was us doing that.
Yeah.
That's
So we're
awesome.
starting to get some good things, and not that, we weren't doing, but it's starting to feel like it's normal again.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
That's nice.
Yeah, I had a question about the, I read through the information about the mathematical modeling and reasoning course. This is, we're a pilot
Yes.
school, or it's a
Yes.
pilot program.
Yes.
Is this something that might be taking over? We might adopt for all of the math?
It's difficult for me, first of all, I think when you do a pilot, I think that's what you're looking at to see, and again, I don't want to scare anybody here, because I'm not saying that's good the way, but sometimes when it's a pilot, it's not, it's to see whether it's a course that we want to be able to adopt as an ongoing course. So not necessary as a replacement, if I'm answering that question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it for, and if this was in the minutes, or the information, I just forgot, but is it for a particular grade, a particular?
Yes, and I forgot Mrs., Jen Tampman is teaching.
Yeah.
I was it's probably high school then. Yeah.
Yeah, yes, it
So
is.
ninth-
So I know, so Jen Tampman is gonna be the one teaching
Yeah,
this.
She's
okay.
algebra 1, right?
So it could be,
Oh, this is the one I think,
yes, we,
Mr. Capel mentioned when he was going through.
Oh,
That she
last
was
week.
working with
Okay.
the Ohio Department of
Yeah.
Education, if I remember
Yes,
correctly.
last week he actually
Okay,
did
so
say
yeah, it
that.
would be a high school,
So it
just
would
one
be-
course
Okay.
that
Oh,
they're
yeah,
looking
I
at.
can
I
say
didn't
for sure,
realize
it's
it was the
definitely
same
at the
one.
high school
Yeah.
level, Jen Tapman is
Yeah.
teaching
Okay.
it, and really
I
it's,
didn't realize that was the same course.
working
Yeah.
with the Ohio Department of Education. And so I think in one sense, what I can say is, it's really an honor, in
Yeah.
a sense where, first of all, trusting us to be able to pilot something
Right.
Mhm.
that is, what the Ohio Department of Education deems as a future need.
Yeah.
And then, of course, having a teacher that's the willingness to be able to do that. So I apologize.
She's so
Yeah, she's.
Oh,
innovative.
Yeah.
She's very forward-thinking and innovative. I would agree with that, so
Excellent.
yes.
I'm excited for the Summer Academy.
Yeah,
They came out the gate running last year, so
that
I'm
was so
afraid
great
it's gonna come
last
out
year,
this year.
yeah.
Stay tuned.
Hearing no further questions or comments, may we get a roll call, Mr. Hill?
Ms. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Falkenberg?
Aye.
Mrs. Jones?
Aye.
Ms. King?
Aye.
Mrs. Ryan?
Aye.
We are under 12.0 now, the Student Service and Strategic Partnerships. Welcome back, Traveler, and that, so got a chance to enjoy her family celebration, so glad to have her back. So under 12.1, recommend to the Board of Education to approve the SEL service agreement for the fourth quarter and the Summer Academy. Again, these are our support services for the fourth quarter and Summer Academy, and again, through the district's, the RRR plan, the reopening, recovery, and revitalizing our schools. So we're just continuing that work. And I believe some of that was going to come through the Career Connections courses and teacher, and SEL teachers. And then under 12.2, the Summer Academy Service Agreement, again, having some of those supports in place for the Summer Academy. And we have worked with the Flower Entertainment Incorporated before, and they've done a nice job. And then 12.3, the LST Grant Award from the University of Colorado. Really, we're looking at our Career Connections and SEL course, and this one is, Ms. Thompson and I talked about it, is really looking for some content for the 9th grade part of that, excuse me. So we are going to partner with, for that curriculum, and sometimes, it's good to create things from scratch, and other times it's good to have something that you can also balance out that is a program that helps kind of guide us along the way. And so what this is doing, excuse me, is helping with that balance there. Ms. Thompson, anything else you want to add to that today? Got that? And, excuse me. Then 12.4, recommending to the board to approve the student services and strategic partnership agenda items.
May we get a motion to approve items 12.1 through 12.3?
So moved.
Second?
Ms. King and Ms. Falkenberg, any questions or comments?
Yes, I had a question about, I thought this was exciting, the LST Grant Award. Just wondering how that was going to be worked into the 9th graders' schedules.
Sure,
So
go ahead.
at this point, the plan is, Ms. Levy's class, she is teaching the 9th grade Career Connections SEL course. And so there is a training that, the University of Colorado and the LST, the Botman Life Skills Training Program, they will provide this training, for Ms. Levy and other staff that will be supporting. Some of the youth development specialists will be also supporting that, going into the classroom and doing things with our students. So it will be part of that class on a schedule. And there are surveys that our students will participate in. Of course, that information will be shared with families so that they know what is expected and what will happen. But a great opportunity for us. And I certainly want to acknowledge that Mr. Eddie Hall, our college and career pathway specialist, was instrumental in identifying this opportunity for us and co-authored the grant application for us to receive it. So, great work.
So is this a separate class, or is it within the?
It's within the Career Connections and SEL course.
It's going to be integrated.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay.
And I think that's something we're still This is the first year, so Ms. Falconer, what we're doing is still building, I would say, the curriculum, and in some cases refining the curriculum. And I think this is one of the areas we looked at.
So it's Donna and other teachers.
Yes, at this
Okay,
point, Ms. Levy is teaching ninth grade, and so she'll be the lead facilitator.
Okay.
It's not another facilitator coming in, but rather the training that she receives and other of our team members. We always try to look at things from a sustainability standpoint. So if it's something that she is able to learn and implement and vet, and determine how we might want to move forward with it, that's the design.
Yeah.
So no cost to us.
Yeah.
Super nice.
Any other questions or comments?
No.
Hearing none, may we get a roll call, Mr. Hill?
Ms. King,
Aye.
Ms. Falkenberg,
Aye.
Mrs. Jones,
Aye.
Ms. Lee,
Aye.
Mrs. Ryan.
Aye.
I do 13.0, long agenda this evening. Under exceptional students, recommending to the Board of Education to approve item 13.1, the Fieldstone Farm Therapeutic Writing Center. And this is really unique and exciting. These sessions are being provided through a donation of an SEL parent. And I don't know, Ms. Moles, do you want to mention anything like
So
this?
the donor wants to remain anonymous for this year, but they are sponsoring us for the Mobile Minis program. So the little tiny mini horses, the little Shetlands, they're going to bring them to the school. They're going to work with a couple of our classrooms at Sunview, at Greenview, and here at Brush. And they have curriculum that aligns with the different content areas, or they can just come in for therapeutic purposes of the kids reading to them and just being around them. So yes, we will have mini horses in the buildings.
Can you tell me which days? I want to go.
Yes, I would be happy to share that.
Thank you.
So unfortunately and kind of tragically though, Fieldstone had some horses that came out, and one was Thunder and one was Lightning, and Lightning unexpectedly passed. And so we had to delay it because Thunder was kind of grieving, and so yes, so it will be between now and the end of the school year.
They do a wonderful job, though.
They do an amazing job.
So some schools have dogs that come and read.
We have horses. Yeah, of course. We got mini horses.
On both Sunday and
I just want to see some of the kids' faces when the minis are coming through the halls, and they're like,
Yes.
Those are so fun.
Will you be there when they come? Yeah. I want to know how many kids call them donkeys.
oh, definitely. And I'll take pictures of some faces discreetly and just like, is that a dog? A donkey?
They are gonna have so much fun.
That's a
with
great
that. That is
experience.
beautiful. Thank you.
Yes, thank you
probably
to
one of
that
the most-
Thank you to
Thank you
that
to the
parent
parents.
like that.
Thank you to the
Oh,
parent. It's one of the
wonderful.
most unique items we've had on the board,
Yeah.
but it is such a
Yes.
fantastic item. We thank you for your generosity, and I can't wait. I want to know what day too.
We'll all be there.
And I think that's the only item I have, so under 13.2, approval of the superintendent's exceptional students item as presented.
May we get a motion to approve item 13.1?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Ryan, Ms. Falkenberg, thank you very much. May we get a roll call, Mr. Hill?
Mrs. Ryan,
Aye.
Ms. Falkenberg,
Aye.
Mrs. Jones,
Aye.
Ms. King,
Aye.
Ms. Lee.
Aye.
And I believe that concludes my section, so under 14.1 here.
Item 14, Board of Education. 14.1, do we have any information that the board would like to release?
Oh, this weekend is the spring musical. It's a one-act play. Do you want to dance? And I think it's only Friday and Saturday, if I'm not
I
mistaken.
need to bring back the Sunday.
I know,
There wasn't a
so-
lot of numbers.
I know, I remember they said
yeah.
that.
So.
You know the dates off, or they're on the website, don't worry about it.
They're on the website. Yeah, I know
Okay.
it's this Friday and Saturday. I'm assuming
think-
it's
I
like
think-
7:30.
I think it's like an 18th and, no, I took about
Oh, you said this weekend?
Yeah,
Oh, I'm
it's this
sorry.
weekend,
Okay.
yeah.
I think Friday's the 22nd,
Yeah.
correct, and then the Saturday's the 23rd.
Are they gonna do it again where you go on the website to get your
I
tickets
think
and then you?
so, I don't know. And then Thursday, they're having a, it said there, on the calendar, it says there's a, what is it called?
Rehearsal?
Like a showcase or something, yeah, like, but I don't know what that all entails.
Check the website.
Yeah, check the website for more information. Please come out and support our students.
And just by way of the board's calendar, I know a couple of months ago, back in the winter, we tentatively tried to pick a 2-day window in April for board recognition. It's my understanding that we're not going to do board recognition this
Here, yes.
quarter at least, so
That's
we
good.
will see if we revisit it down the line, but.
And we can also take an opportunity to reboot that and figure out how, what we want to do as a type of recognition that could be something that's enhanced or changed from what was done in the past.
Okay. I apologize, I left my phone in the car, but Ms. King, are you up for council meeting this month? Sorry.
Yes, for May.
Okay, so what I usually get from Kelly is she will send me the information for the meeting, and then it just kind of reminds me that the meeting's coming, because my calendar is jacked.
Okay,
So I will just forward it to you. She usually will say who's coming,
okay.
and then I will copy you and say Ashley is coming, and I'll send it. So I'll do that. And then they're in person. You went with Erin, right?
Mhm.
To in person. And then South Euclid is still on the WebEx
Yes.
portal, so they are there. If you need the dates, I have them. I don't remember if I sent you the.
I put all of them on my calendar,
Yeah.
so
Okay, so you're
I'm
good.
good. I just, don't really know what announcements I'm giving.
So if you want, this is what Erin and I do because we're like crazy. We don't have everything written down. So like the week before, if you want to just shoot an email to us saying like, do you have anything that you might want me to include?
Okay.
You can do it that way. Dr. Reed will kind of give a brief synopsis. And then that format, I think that format was attached to the email too with the dates. And then you can just kind of plug them in.
Okay.
90% of my information I get from the website.
Okay.
So I just kind of spend some days during the week going through all the tabs of the school a little bit. I don't remember, sometimes I would look at Brush's announcements if they're still
Yeah.
being loaded up,
Okay.
kind of get some of the inside stuff, but for the most part, that'll be it.
And the
You should-
summer program probably for,
I
let
don't
them
think
know.
she would get one. Oh, the summer program, yes. I
Yeah,
thought you meant like the summer
oh, no,
newsletter.
just to
I was
let,
like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
let them know that we're having that again.
But yeah, usually we'll just shoot out a couple things, and then
Yeah.
you can kind of pick and choose what you want to
And
do.
remind them it's testing season, which is always fun for everyone.
Yeah, really.
Yes, we all love testing season.
I just want to say, every year, I'm just blown away by our art students. And we've got, I think this is going down tomorrow, is
Yeah,
that right?
I think so, yeah, it's been excellent.
I'm thrilled that I got to see
Yeah,
them this year, but,
absolutely.
again, brava to our art teachers, our art department, and our students are just amazing. They're just
Absolutely.
amazing.
Feels good to have it up again. Yeah, we.
Yeah.
Yes,
Through there, it's
yes.
nice to see their work displayed. Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Any new and unfinished business?
Mhm.
Board policy adoption, 14.3. South Euclid Lyndhurst Board of Education approves the following board policies. They were previously presented for first reading and preliminary review. They were read at the board meeting held on March 22nd. We've got all revisions, so policy 2271, policy 2370.01, 5772, 6110, 6114, 6325, 6423, 7217, and 8500. I think those were all listed with possibilities of opening and reading if you need it. May we get a motion to approve item 14.3?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Ryan, Ms. King. Any questions or comments regarding those revisions?
Nope.
Yeah, there were just a couple of, and I forgot to bring the notebook, just a couple of, I think typos.
Are we still dealing with the Neola side?
So,
or is
so
it-
what they do, just so, what they do is, we get that from Neola, and it's kind of like, it has the strikeouts and everything.
Yeah.
And what they, and the spacing's off sometimes, and what they tell us, even the grammar, what they do is, once the content is approved,
Okay.
they clean it up.
Okay.
And so it's difficult for us to catch their errors. And I know you have a great eye for it. So just so, you know, that's the piece that we've talked to them about it.
Okay.
And they said that they, you know, once they do the upload, and I appreciate, because you don't want us to look bad that we have
Yeah.
policy that's
Right,
like these.
right.
It's really on the Neola side,
Okay.
and they said they clean it up.
Okay,
So are you able, because I know that you're a stickler for that. So when you look at the revisions that we have attached, after they upload them, are you able to go into Neola to compare the differences to where maybe you can see that they
I don't know
did
that I can get into Neola.
Because we can if we go through the board.
Yeah,
I've gone
yeah,
through the
yeah,
board
what,
link.
what, what,
Yeah, our
what you
website.
can, what we can do, if I know what policies those are, you don't have to tell me, if you just tell me it's like 6110.
Yeah.
It takes them about, after you approve these policies, it will take them, I don't know why, but it takes them a couple weeks for them to, probably because they're cleaning up the grammars.
Right.
But it takes them a few weeks for them to upload it.
Okay.
And then once we do that, we can look to see if
Okay.
those errors that
Yeah,
were saw
that they
in the draft were actually corrected.
Okay.
And I think at the bottom of the policy, it'll have the
We don't
date.
have-
That's correct.
Yeah, because
Of
these are,
revision.
these are
So it'll
public
have it.
Right.
records, so you have on the board, we can.
Yeah, when you look at, if people were to look
Policies.
online in the draft, a lot of times, depending on the
Administrative
revision,
guidelines, we can't
some
get
of it
into
could be
all of those,
quite
but you should be able
confusing
to find the
to
policies.
follow
Okay.
because
I
of
remember exactly
the
where they are.
strikeout and the
I remember
add-ons
they
is
were in
really
a gray
based on
box.
legislation.
So,
We rarely
when I get home, I'll
um,
look and I'll send you
change the
pictures.
language because it's based on legislation.
Yeah.
What we do, though, is a lot of times, there's options, and we pretty much take the mindset is that a policy should be broader. And so we, you know, anything, we don't tend to do a lot of the options, so, but actually the content itself,
Mhm.
we tend not to try to change because it's based on legislation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, we could get ourselves in trouble.
Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, may we get a roll call, Mr. Hill?
Mrs. Ryan,
Aye.
Ms. King,
Aye.
Ms. Falkenberg,
Aye.
Mrs. Jones,
Aye.
Ms. Lee.
Aye.
15.1, do we have any public comment that has came in?
No.
No? Hearing no public comment. We do not have a need for executive session today. And may we get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
It is now
6:43.
6:43. All in favor?
Aye.
Aaron Lee, so moved.
Oh,
I
I'll
did.
second.
Ms.
Oh,
Falkenberg?
okay, that's fine. I don't care.
Many, many, many.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See you at the next one.
Everyone.
This one.